Well, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to the reaction phase, your favorite Monday morning podcast. My name is Louis from KitchenTableTCG. I'm joined by my good friend and yours. What's your name?
Oh, you're just stopping there. What's up, guys? I'm Josh from Hometown TCG, and welcome to your favorite Monday morning podcast, which is actually on a Monday morning for the first time in like a month.
I know. We're so good. I'm still getting over my COVID. If you hear me clicking around a cough drop, it's just so I can make it through the podcast.
I thought you were gonna, if you hear me clicking around a cough drop. So, dude, how are you? Again, another weekend. We didn't get a chance to chat until this moment.
This is like the only time we ever talk is on the podcast. It sucks. It's good. We had our road to nationals this weekend, so I had that all day today. My wife also back at work, so we're trying to juggle the kids and stuff. But it was good. It was a good weekend, man. How about you?
Dude, it was awesome. We got to go to a wedding. We got to go to a 1-year-old birthday party, a little glimpse into my future. Saw the whole smash cake thing again. Just so for those that don't know, this has nothing to do with TCGs. But if you go to young kids' birthday parties, do the smash cake thing and watch it. It's awesome.
You have a very different perspective on smash cakes than I do. I think.
Well, I've never had the kid doing the smash cake.
Smash cakes, I hope my wife doesn't listen to this. Smash cakes are so much more about the wife being able to post a picture on Instagram than it is anything else. The kid doesn't have a great time. The cleanup, nobody eats the cake. I mean, I guess the kid has a good time. You're smashing
the kid today had a great time. Literally hugged this cake in and just went and took giant bites. So I have seen the smash cake go down where the child does not enjoy themselves. Yeah. And then the dad washing the kid off does not enjoy themselves. And you're wondering, like, who is this for? But no, this was an amazing smash cake experience. It was so cool. Yeah. I'm
glad the kid had fun and the mom got the picture she wanted. So today we're going to be talking about, flesh and blood, not just smash cakes. We're going to talk about Road to Nationals. I had my Road to Nationals today, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the history pack differences. This seems to be one of the big things in the flesh and blood world right now that people are excited about. So it's kind of fun to talk about. And then we'll talk about the Uprising market with volume, and then get into some other market stuff as well. So, yeah, man.
Dude, I'm stoked. So you had your RTN this weekend, and the last thing you left me with was you don't know if you're going to go. So we got to know.
Oh, yeah, that was last week. Yeah, so So the math on the COVID stuff, today was day 11. So okay. I was like you're supposed to wear a mask in public until day 10, and then you're kind of free. So anyway, so it was good. Okay. I feel great. The only have this. I feel great.
I feel great, man.
I sound so much worse than I actually am. It's hilarious.
I'm currently smoking 4 packs a day, but I feel fantastic.
What am I supposed to do? Not make content for like 2 weeks just because my voice is. This might just be maybe I'll have long COVID and this is just it for like the next 2 years. This is what you have to deal with. That's what. Yeah. Anyway,
are you getting a lot of comments in the comment section about your voice?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. Anyway, so Road to Nats was good. We had 14, which is low. But I didn't do my shop can really hold like 24 is like the max. Okay. So I was kind of afraid to be like, hey, everyone, come to my road and like really, really, really promote it. So 14 was pretty good for our area. Had some people come from Morgantown, which is like 3 hours away. And we had a bunch of locals.
Okay.
It was good. Actually, a patron won it. And yeah, pretty awesome. Anthony, I believe. I hope I'm not messing that up. I think his name's Anthony.
So it's how much collusion is actually going on?
What do you mean collusion?
I just happened to have my Road to Net in a Kitchen Table TCG patron happens to win my Road to Nationals, get all the prizes. Oh man,
he came from so we gave a playmat away. I did the Kitchen Table TCG champion playmat. So he won.
Which patron won that?
He won Anthony won it. Who won the thing?
Oh, okay. It wasn't
prize. Okay. Anderson, not Anthony. I'm sorry, Anderson. I'm so sorry. It's both A names. It's midnight. I'm exhausted. I'm absolutely tired. So Anderson won. He won with Lexi. Our top 4 was 2 Phi and 2 Lexi. Kind of crazy. So our whole meta, I can kind of do the numbers real quick, but we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Phis in the tournament of 14, and 3 of them made the top 8. And then Lexi's, we had 1, 2 Lexi's. Both of them made the top 8.
Sure.
1, 2 Dramais, a Levia, a Dash, 2 Viscerize, 1 Prism. Prism's just like out. Fi has wrecked Prism.
Okay, we'll touch on that. Sure.
Fi has wrecked Prism. She's just gone. She's
we will 100%. We'll touch on that for sure.
Let's talk about it right now. What else you want? I mean, like,
I wanted you to finish breaking down your meta because I'm waiting for you to say a hero name.
Oh, what are you waiting for me to say?
How much old man did
None.
you have?
0 old man.
So
we have
there. Ding, 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 ding.
Everyone,
there you go.
Every male at our Road to Nationals was young. Is that a joke?
I see what you did there. It wasn't that good, but I see what you did there.
It's a dad joke. You'll get it someday.
Someday soon.
Yeah.
No, Fi gets to run. So the Lexi that won, I'm assuming, was of some kind of Frost variety. And even the Frost leaning Lexis don't really lean that hard on it. It's kind of like a splash. In MTG's phrase, or think of it as like a splash, right? Mm-hmm. So any kind of disruption, there's some math out there. Some of these Fi turns that are like, oh, I have a 31 damage turn, I have a 27 damage turn, with 1 Frostbite becomes like a 13 damage turn. Like the 1 Frostbite throws you off that hard. So that's why a lot of these Lexis, and I don't know if you listen to some other content creator on a really cool channel that happens to be in her podcast, I think Lexi is an awesome hero to play right now because she has run into everything. It is so sweet. So it's cool that one there. I just
sent you the deck list.
I see that. It's cool that you had a Lexi win.
Yeah,
but
he's got some ice.
But Fi is not ruining Prism. When people figure out that old man is very viable, especially because everyone's like, oh, well, Prism's gone, you can't play Prism. Well, that means old man is going to run over everyone's face right now. It's going to be nuts. Team Kitchen Fable just got a Oldham win this weekend too. It was Logan V. Oh, congrats, Logan V. Congrats.
Oldham. So
very
the
cool.
meta seems. I mean, we talked about this last week. Meta is. And everyone at the Road to Nationals this week was talking about it. It was hilarious. I was like, so how are you guys feeling about, your local meta and also, the Road to Nationals thing? They're like, there's no Starvo and it's amazing. And I was like, it's amazing the damage that Starvo did to like people's psyche. Like,
the psychic damage.
Somebody was like, yeah, like the other day I was thinking about what heroes I wanted to play. I didn't even have to think about Guardian. And he goes, and then I showed up in my first round 1. I got pummeled by regular Bravo. And I was like, this is the same thing. Nothing's changed.
There's a popular modern streamer that talks about the importance of psychic damage. And I feel like Pummel not only does 4 additional damage and gives you card advantage, but it also deals psychic damage to your opponent, where it's like,
you're just waiting for the second pummel.
I'm getting pummeled. Or if you're playing Fi and you just don't block that well, the worst part is you're like, if my opponent has a pummel, I don't have the ability to lay down my hand and stop the pummel anyway, so it's just gonna happen. And then they don't have it and they arsenal a card, and you're like, well, is that it? Like it gets insane. So no, the meta's crazy, man. It's so open.
I will say Fi, I mean, being so open, that aggro style deck definitely has a pretty easy like road towards winning. Not that it's OP or anything like that, but there is a very direct path when the meta is that wide that like fast aggro is just good. It's just good, right? Like it's your low to the ground aggro decks are in such a good spot when you don't know what's going to happen, right? Because you're able to keep your mental, you're able to kind of get through these games and get these lines down. And while you have a natural predator in some of these decks, a lot of these decks that naturally prey on you are a little bit tougher to play. And I'm not saying like Fi is not tough to play. There's not hard decisions. But if you're trying to grind a game out and drag a hero like Fi out to the deep end, there's very little room for error there if you're trying to control that hero. So there's a lot less reps you have to have. The problem is like as soon as everyone figures out like, oh, we have our first fair
low to the ground aggro deck. It's not Cheerios Briar that also gets a bonus on defense, right? It's vulnerable. People will start teching against it. And right now, that is like the one deck that you can, aside from your illusionists and bringing in extra 6s, it's the one deck that you can pretty safely board against. Like, you can dedicate some amount of your pile to know you will play some number of Fi.
Well, and very rarely in a meta in a Magic meta does the red deck wins deck actually end up being the strongest thing. Like it takes the meta some time to get to know what it's doing, and this is just early. I mean, we're still super early in this meta, so
and there's definitely an argument for this. This could be an aggro meta, but aggro and Fi, I feel like, are two different animals, right? Like, there's a Viserai deck going around there. Shout out to, I believe it's the Arsenal Pass guys that really coined the idea that Viserai is still really powerful. And this deck is an aggro deck, but it can play off smaller and limited hands and can survive behind a decent amount of armor. Like, it's an aggro deck for sure. It doesn't like to block. It doesn't do it as efficiently, but it can if it needs. Fi is that aggro deck that it's probably got slightly more explosive output, but man, it just does. There's no plan B here, bro. It's get in there and get in there hard and get in there fast and hope for the best. Like, it's pretty wild to see.
I was amazed, and don't quote me on this because again,
Luigi George says
the amount of decks in the top 8. So we did the top 8 deck check. The amount of decks that had Art of War in it, I think they all had it. I think every deck.
Oh, really?
I think every deck had Art of War. I only checked 4 of them. The judge checked.
Fi and Lexi both run them. What else was your top 8? It was Fi, Lexi, and who else? I know there's Levia builds. If the Levia made the top 8, I know there's some Levia arguments for Art of War.
I think Levia did. Viserai did.
Yep. Oh, wait. Ooh, Viserai Art of War. That's interesting.
I don't think I checked the Viserai deck, so that one might not have. Anyway, but my point is, like, Art of War, super strong card right now.
Yeah.
Seeing tons of play. The conversation turned into a couple people who lost out after the top 8 just were coming out. I was scanning some Magic cards for Magic Buy, and we were talking about everything. And they were talking about Art of War. They want to see Art of War scaled back for certain heroes. And I know they're never going to do that in Fab, but I still think they should. I mean, this is a conversation we talk about all the time, that, like, because of the specifics for Flesh and Blood, you can actually ban cards or reduce cards for specific heroes.
For a hero?
To kind of, like, fix the meta some ways. And the conversation was like, they wish that Art of War was scaled differently. I was like, I don't love that, but it was interesting.
Listen, my man. Listen, Cav Dean's Market, Kitchen Table TCG folk at this RTN. Listen, if they weren't going to scale back Art of War for OG Chain, where you literally still got to play the card you banished, it was draw 2 cards +1 to everything. They're not going to scale Art of War back now because there's at least a detriment. You can whiff Art of War. Art of War is one of those cards that is frustrating to me because of playing in the OG chain meta, and you would get a chain player that goes Art of War, Art of War, Art of War, and you're like, well, great, this feels horrible. So it's always one of those cards when my opponent plays it, I have like the flashbacks going by, like the helicopters in Vietnam and all the bombs dropping, and I start like freaking out. The big cat head in the background, I start losing it, but they're never going to do that. And I don't think it needs to be.
It's a $65 card now too.
It's Art of War $65.
$65, insane.
I have some Art of Wars if you guys would like to.
This guy's got 20 of them listed.
Buy them from
maybe that's why they're so expensive. Maybe he bought them all up and now he's dumping them.
Oh, so you think there's an Art of War buyout now? The conspiracies run deep, my friend. No, I don't.
I'm not saying that.
I don't think I think we only see that scenario where we're banning cards for heroes in emergency situations because it feels, it's just like a regular banning. It just feels bad. Like,
listen, if they didn't ban Awakening from Starvo, they're not going to ban anything. They're never going to do that.
They banned Plunder Run, and Katsu and Lexi at the time both got hit because Briar abused Plunder Run. So I can't imagine
do that. I wish it would, but they're never gonna. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. Let's focus.
All right. I mean, that's fine. Let's just leave it at you're wrong. Okay, moving on.
That's fine. I'm done. I've fought that fight. I'm done fighting it. It's fine.
This man has given up. What has the internet done to you, dude?
But it's just, I've said my piece. I have nothing else to say. What? I don't want to get into it. Everyone knows my piece on this. Like, I'm done. I mean, overall, like, even like last week, the meta games are. There's not much to talk about because it's so good. I mean,
I think that means there's tons to talk about. Okay, it's just hard to to pinpoint what to talk about. Like at this point, it's fun to strategize and fun to theorize the heroes that are actually unplayable, right? Like what is an actually unplayable hero in a top end competitive meta? Not at the casual games, not at your local armory or whatever it is, but at your road to nationals. And I always make the comment when it gets crazy like this. Azalea.
I was going to say Azalea.
Azalea is actually decent if she can laser focus in on something and build her disruption around that. But when she has to go this wide, she's not as effective.
Dorinthia and Kano were less played in the overall metagame than Azalea.
So Dorinthia, I think, has some run if aggro keeps being prominent, because if you don't block Dorinthia and you're able to play kind of a back and forth game, Dorinthia can get going and it closes out games so well. Like being low health against a Dorinthia feels horrible. You're just going to die at any moment.
Listen, this is cute, but I don't think Dorinthia's got it right now, man.
I don't think she's like, I wouldn't put her in an S tier or A tier, but I think she's decent and she's fun to play. And I think she can get some wins. I do.
I wish it was, but I think you and Sean Haderoff are in your own camps.
It was the first hero. It was the first hero I ever played, dude. It was the first.
Why don't you get together with Bruno the Bully and you guys can go and play Dorinthia mirror matches all the time and just reaction based each other the whole time.
So Dorinthia doesn't have it. Does Bolton have it? Or is it just
Bolton? Okay, this is another conversation we had. Bolton is like showing up in the European metas. It's crazy how the meta is evolving from area.
It's like regionalized. Yeah.
Like Bolton's like actually like showing up. It's crazy.
All right, so you gotta cheer for a dark horse hero. You gotta like paint your chest, wave the flag, and everything. Who's your dark horse hero that you're cheering for?
Man, I mean, Viserai is not dark horse, but Viserai is
Viserai is like A tier. What do you?
Okay,
mean?
Reiner. I want to see Reiner do something good for once.
I want to see Reiner do something so I can just cosplay as just this gigantic brute. Because that's kind of that's how I live my life anyway.
So wait, just to be clear, this is the content that you thought would be really good with the open meta.
When could you talk about when the Starvo meta? You had no reason to talk about Reiner. You would never mention Reiner's name. You would never mention Dorinthia's name. You would never mention Bolton's name. This is cool. You can mention any hero.
Yeah,
you talk about whatever you want.
I think it's cool that you don't know exactly what's gonna be what's gonna happen when you show up to an event like this.
It's so scary. It's playing fun. It a couple. It's like. I hope you
gotta do your homework. You gotta know, you gotta know your deck in and out. You can't just tech it against the 50% meta. You have to actually like know your deck in and out and make good moves. This is what we always dreamed Flesh and Blood could be. This meta. This is everything. This is everything we always wished Flesh and Blood was, and it's really good. It's awesome. So
it's so good. It's so good. The last thing I do want to say on the topic, because I think this is important, is you say like, oh, you got to do your homework. You can't tech your deck. The deck building thought process has to shift from like, how do I counter Starvo to be like, I need to have an anti-aggro package. And I need that package to be okay against enough aggro strategies to justify bringing it in, and an anti-fatigue or defensive, an anti-mid-range package. And then maybe tech against one hero that you're really soft into. Right? Or bring in the sixes for your illusionist or whatever it might be. So the deck building theory kind of shifts a little bit.
Yeah. So I do wonder if someone's going to solve it though. Like, I think we're still pretty early. Oldham seems like it doesn't seem like anyone's really solved. Oldham seems like it could be a thing.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It is so good.
I'm gonna come back to it, and like I love this meta, and everyone loves this meta, and it's awesome. I hope we just continue to see this meta over and over.
We won't. Like, realistically, the amazing players in our community are going to nail this thing down and be vocal about what works. So it will funnel slightly. It will never stay like the entire field. It will begin to funnel slightly. You don't want it to funnel too far to where it's 3 decks, right? The Starvo meta was like you were playing one of 3 decks. You don't want to funnel that. If it could funnel to like there's 5 that we know are like A tier, and then there's 2 dark horse counter decks that play well against the field. I think that would be neat.
Listen, man, this is all I'm saying. If you want to play fun Flesh and Blood, the next month is the time to play fun Flesh and Blood, because no one's gonna figure out in the next like 3 weeks. Okay.
Meanwhile, there are teams out there that have it solved. They're just not telling us.
Listen, Arsenal Pass can have whatever they want. Team Ascent can have whatever they want. Team Kitchen. For the rest of us losers and people who are bad at the game, this is the time to go have fun and enjoy this game for what it's meant to be, which is a fun game and not some uber competitive. I'm just going to play Starvo and not think about anything.
Well, dude, it is a sick meta, and I agree. If you want to really get out there and experience things, get out there now.
And shout out to Sean, Prism sucks, and you don't have to play against Prism either. So it's great. It's awesome.
Anyway, moving on.
Not that bad. I know that's a bad take.
You get to have the last. You get to have the last word, and I get to just fume against you.
All right, let's talk about the history pack differences.
Okay, so this is interesting. So you proposed this topic, and you want to talk about the history pack that was released regionally in like Germany and places like that is different than History Pack Volume 1 that we got here in the States that you and I both opened. And that's correct, right? What are the differences? Run me through them real quick.
So it's foreign black bordered.
Okay.
So number 1, the cards are black bordered, which listen, people who just don't like the white border cards, that's fine. I don't like the white border cards either, but I don't hate it. I think that's fine.
No.
Anyway, the differences. It's black bordered. They're in different languages.
Thanks.
I think there's 3 or 4 languages. And
technically a difference. Very good.
There are rainbow foil fables in them that you can pull. And in our history pack, there are 0 fables.
0 fables, yes.
Yep.
Not even white border fables, which would kind of be cool.
They would be the most expensive fables other than the cold foil ones on the market right now.
Yeah. Maybe.
And then the big thing that everyone's going all woo over is the Marvel the Marvel cards from this is what everyone's doing on Facebook. Woo! Like,
what are they doing?
Woo! The Marvel, so you can get like a Marvel Dorinthia or
and those are Marvel, like full art. Are they cold foil?
Yeah, they're the
full art, full Monty cold foil hero cards.
Think of like the Starvo that you spent $275 on.
I try not to.
That, but with like heroes that are still legal to play.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see the second jab coming. I saw the first jab coming. I didn't see the second one.
Don't worry. We'll have a living legend for it. Somebody else today was like, I was talking about, is Prism going to get living legend soon? All this stuff. I was like,
no, she's dead, remember?
I was like, aren't you going to be bummed when you can't play your like $2,000 foiled out Prism deck? And he was like, oh, I mean, I can play it in the living legend format. I was like, yeah, with Starvo. He was like, oh my gosh, Starvo's in that format. I don't want to
play. the realization washes over their face. Just this. Okay. So back to the differences. Yeah. The big ones being the ability to pull fables, the foil fables, and then the Marvel hero cards. So let's address the Marvel hero cards first.
This is by far the biggest one. And those they've said that they will not print those ever again. That they will not print English versions of the Marvels for Dorinthia or whatever. Okay.
So this is, I think, only a feel bad for us. And I'm off the top of my head because we're just discussing this now. We didn't really discuss it beforehand. I'm trying to think of why this is a bad thing. Because as someone who doesn't have access to this product, I'm like, oh, this kind of sucks. Like, I want it. And I'm trying to think of a justification of like why it's a bad thing or what it hurts. And nothing's coming to mind off the top of my head. So I think it's just a bad thing because I don't have access to it in my mind.
I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I mean,
that's what I'm getting at. As my initial inclination is, oh, this is bad, but then I'm like, is it really though? Because nothing's coming to mind.
Listen, I still just don't think history packs for United States, the American history packs are good. I just don't think those are good. Those aren't.
We don't need them.
I don't think they want them to be. I don't think they should have been printed. I don't think they should exist. I mean, they're not doing anything for the market. I mean, like I just looked up Art of War. It's a $66 card, and the white border version is $76. Like like there's 4 of them. It's like they didn't add supply to the market. No. They didn't do anything.
They added a rarity.
They just created an uglier well, in my opinion, they created a different version of the card that some collectors are saying are going to be more rare, so they're collecting it. Like I don't care about that. I think the foreign thing is great for a couple reasons. One, those who can't read the English language and read the other 3 or 4 languages are able to get into the game. Mm-hmm. That's great. 2, they now have supply in those countries that maybe those countries didn't have a supply, and the supply is for those countries. It's not like they're getting, the leftovers from the United States or whatever.
Didn't sound like you're talking about the Marvels specifically, though. You're talking about the product as a whole.
Yeah, sorry. The Marvels, I have some gripes with. Not gonna lie, I think that's a little weird.
But like, is it just because you can't get them?
I can get them. I can buy the foreign product and open them. So they're like 1 in a case. I think they're really overpriced right now. They're like selling for like $500-$600 each. Everybody wants them. They're cool. Yeah. They're awesome.
Yeah, they do. They are cool.
You can get a case for $400 or $500, I think, right now in the USA. You can get a case. I think probably $500. Don't quote me on the prices, but
sure.
So
you're just the market guy. It's fine.
I'm not doing this. I'm not doing a market update on this. I'm not doing any of the history pack stuff.
You got like 16 market update videos.
Yeah, I just can't. But I think the prices are high right now. They're like 1 per case, so like they should be like the legendary value. You should see it be like maybe a price of 2 boxes, something like that. That's probably my opinion. I think they're cool. I think they're awesome. I think what they do though, and this is the type of stuff that like maybe this is just what it is, but like we had the cold foil versions of the heroes, and now there's a better version, right? Like now it's the same thing that they do with same thing with gold foils. So like a gold foil, a cold foil Snapdragon Scalers used to be worth $1,000, right? It used to be worth a lot of money. It was cold foil. It was the best rarity. And then they did the Road to National stuff, or the whatever they where they had gold foils, and you could have a gold foil common. And so now like that's the highest value part of the gold foil. So
okay.
And that it doesn't crash. It lowers the value of the regular cold foils. And I think this is going to do the same thing to the prize support that was the cold foil heroes that maybe you spent $700 on a cold foil Dorinthia, and now you have the Marvel version. It's a little weird, and I love the cards though. So like it's hard. It's like they look amazing. They look so cool.
They look incredible, and I think more than lower the value of the other ones is, at least at a bare minimum, they might not lower the value of the old school cold foil heroes, but I think what they do is they 100% do create a cap, right? They create and whether the ceiling is moving, right? So if the Marvel moves up, the other one has space to move up, but it's a living cap that will always be there. It could never exceed that value. Now, because they said they'll never reprint it again. If there was cases like the gold foil Snapdragon Scalers, go ahead.
that may be a misquote from me. I think they said they won't print it in English. So
okay,
as long as this exists, the foreign black border product, they will probably keep reprinting it. Sorry, I just didn't want to.
Okay, but then there's a realm where it no longer becomes a cap. So that was my point with the Snapdragon scalers, and it's more relevant with the Marvels if they're open to be reprinted, because then theoretically the cold foil Snapdragon scalers, right, will never actually be reprinted. That one won't. Every cold foil Snapdragon scalers that will ever exist is out there.
Right.
LSS could do an entire event where the armory winning card, the one you get 4 of in your armory, is gold foil Snapdragon scalers. They could do that. Now, this is not a claim that they would, but there's no policy that protects that. And we're seeing this in other TCGs right now. These policies that are seemingly useless are important, because down the line, we want to know that these cards, these original copies, are protected, and that one is protected. So there's some value there. But in something like the Marvels, right, where both are promotional, like the Marvels come out of a product that's going to be printed a lot to really help support an expanding community, and these old promos, which they've stated to us, we're going to reprint promos. Like that will happen. We reserve the right to do that. That's a weird dynamic, right? That's often going to depend on how much people open History Pack Volume 1 with them versus how many people are going to events and how often LSS releases these into the wild. So that's a different dynamic there.
Yeah, and I mean, what I hope ends up with these is that they become worth less than the cold foil versions of the heroes.
I would like that.
Because History Pack 1 is, like, I would love the Bravo that you spent $275 on is like $75 or $100, right? Like, it's like you lost like $200 on it. Like, I would love for these to be like $100 cards that are less valuable than their like prize winning, tournament winning cold foils and more accessible. I don't know if that will happen. I mean, like, History Pack 1 is a baffling product to me because it's still available at it just must be that nobody's buying it and nobody's opening it, because the volume available at distribution is there, but the boxes, like the singles market it's like Tales of Aria Unlimited. You can get it, stores can get it, but like
doesn't exist.
It does.
I'm convinced.
So it's weird, but I don't know.
So I do want to touch on you got to give a little spiel on History Pack 1 here, and we've been on the same page as far as like History Pack 1. Where we disagree is if we continue to grow as a game. I see the reason for having History Pack 1 if we continue to grow, because people with a legacy card game, people need those cards, and they will start to get expensive if we continue to grow. If we don't, or if the product is still readily available, I am with you. I thought it was weird to release it into the wild, but maybe it was one of those like, hey, we're going to release these alternate language versions that are going to be a little more special, but we don't want to release nothing. We don't want to have nothing for you. So like, here's something. But what I really want to make known is I love the idea of the alternate language versions of this product, because I think it allows players and our people in our community that otherwise wouldn't have the same attachment to Flesh and Blood, maybe, to really grow that love for the game. And it's not in a full way right now. Sets aren't fully released in those languages right now. We're kind of getting there, but it allows you to really feel involved and feel like a member of that community. And I've played other TCGs. I've played Commander games where one of the people at the table does not speak a word of English. However, the cards are so iconic. When they play cards in their language that we know, and we play cards, we can identify the cards and play a whole game and point and laugh and have a blast. And it's the wildest experience that I've ever had in my life. And this is the foundation that's required for something like that to happen, for these cards to really ingratiate themselves into gamers around the world and become these things that are, regardless of what language are, and there's these pieces that everyone can identify, enjoy, and play with. And for that to happen, you have to feel that ownership. You have to want to know what every card does, what every card art is. You have to be around the product, and that comes with feeling that connection to the product. So I love this, and I don't think you were saying you don't. You love this too.
No, I love it.
But in America, it's weird because we have the other stuff. Like it's all readily available.
Yeah, and like I think the Marvel thing. Some people are upset about the gold, the rainbow foil fables. That doesn't bother me. Like people who are, if you're investing in rainbow foil fables right now, like that's a 10 to 15 year investment anyway. Like this isn't gonna.
That's a weird one to me because the fable wasn't in the other product, right?
I think the idea is like they wanted to give a fable in foreign language, so that what you're saying.
And that makes sense because there's never been an Eye of Ophidia that you could have that ownership to. So that makes sense.
And like they never said they wouldn't reprint the fables in rainbow foil. I bet you in 10 years we get a set that has the Eye of Ophidia and rainbow foil in it. Why would that not happen? Like I don't know. I have no problem with that. It's a different
if it's on the reprint policy, or if it's not on the reprint policy, we will get it again. Like we'll get it. So
I disagree a little bit with you saying that it keeps the prices down. There's 62 card Majestics in this thing, man.
When did I say it keeps the prices down?
He said when people can't get access to the cards, they'll have access to it in the future. Essentially, it's like another unlimited. It's like the unlimited version of unlimited.
Sure, but the concept is this is constantly getting pumped out and opened in lieu of other things that would need to be open to support that growth, right? So
yeah, we can. Well, this is just. I mean, like,
sure,
it's not going to get open. So if Art of War is $75, which it is right now for that version, no one is opening History Pack 1 for Art of War. The odds of you pulling Art of War are incredibly low.
Even with the 8 Majestics to 2,
compared to 10 boxes, one in 9 boxes.
Yeah, but what is it in Arcane Rising? What's the odds you pull an Art of War in Arcane Rising?
Still not good. I mean,
no, but I'm saying, yeah.
I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, you don't do that. People didn't. I mean, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, they're not chasing those. That's not the chase. It's more of like a sprinkle on top. So
especially when it's not going to bring the price
down now.
You can get things like Route as a Majestic. You know what I mean? And right, like I just don't think
card.
It's a great card.
Yeah.
Anyway,
you're right.
You're going to see that be the reason that those prices are, more accessible is what I'm trying to say. But
that's fair. I that's fair. And again, we're on the same page with like this. I'm more doing the mental loops to try to justify it, but we like the foreign language products. Those are cool. Those are sweet.
Right. You were doing some research on Uprising market and volume.
Yeah, so I wanted to take a look before our podcast today, and I wanted to see what kind of Uprising was moving, and I saw something. I started looking at the boxes and cases that were selling, and boxes and cases that are selling are kind of, a couple every day, here and there. We're a smaller, dedicated community, but we're still, just like I thought, we're still opening this product. But what I thought was interesting was the number of sellers on TCG players for these products. And I think there's only 8 sellers right now on TCG Player that are selling cases. That means only 8 stores are listing cases on TCG Player, and only 23 unique sellers of boxes on TCG Player. Meaning, and they have more than one box. I'm not saying there's only 23 boxes available. I'm saying it was interesting to me to only see 8 people offering cases and less than 30 people offering boxes, right, for sale online. What does that say to you? I don't know what it means, but it definitely felt interesting.
Well, selling a case is, I just did the math. Selling a case is is considerably more profitable on TCG Player than selling a box. Selling a case, not just like selling a case, you're netting about 60, not netting before your cost, you're netting about $66 a box. Whereas if you sell a box, you're going to be, boxes are 80 times 0.85 minus $10 shipping. Basically, if you're selling a box, you're almost losing $1. You're getting about a little bit less than $60 per box, between $55 and $60 per box on TCG Player.
And that's sold at MAP at $80 a box.
At $80 a box. So by selling on a case, you're actually making more money per box, about $10 more per box. Okay. Because of shipping and stuff. So it's weird that there's less sellers of the cases, and most people buy cases. Like,
I feel like Flesh and Blood is one of those games, and I don't want to sound. We are not an elitist podcast. We are for the every player, but Flesh and Blood is one of those games where it does feel very encouraging to buy a case of product versus a box of product. So it's one of those, like, if I can afford a box of product, instead I'll wait and save up and then one day go back and buy a case, because then I feel like I normalize my pulls. Now with Uprising, we don't know if that's true anymore, right? I don't know if anyone's done that math yet, but it still feels good to open a case. It feels like you're far more likely to hit that your averages and everything you might need. But I don't know. I just thought it was weird that there's only 8 people selling cases. And with the way you break the math down, is this indicating that Flesh and Blood is moving back off the online model into, the LGS? It's going to be up to the LGS to hold and move this product. So
I think this is twofold. The current economic place that we're in for stores. I mean, we all know, talking about it from consumers, but stores are the same way. And stores just got hammered, absolutely obliterated by Commander Legends. Like, absolutely obliterated. Like, I don't think people really understand how much stores got hurt with Commander Legends. I think boxes, what's a collector box of Commander Legends right now?
I can look it up. I don't have it with me.
I think they're still selling for like considerably less than costs.
Oh no, are they?
Yeah. Let me know what a collector box is. So I think like the stores simply, when Everfest came out, had less money to spend. So I think some of those fringe stores that maybe were looking to make a quick flip or probably backed out of some of their orders. They probably backed out and said, no, we're not going to carry the set. Especially, what is it?
177.67
for a collector box.
Yeah.
On TCG Player.
Yeah.
From a reliable seller.
Actually, the store that sells the next one down at 177.69.
So,
oh no. So they got wrecked.
That is already at 75%, around 75% of the store's costs for the produect. Minus that, you have 15% in fees, you have shipping.
And shipping the product.
So your stores are already losing they've already lost nearly 40% of their value on Commander Legends. So that means if I spent as a store $10,000 on Commander Legends, I lost. If I sold all my product, I lost $4,000. Right. So now if I'm a fringe store, which I am not, I am very heavily involved in Flesh and Blood. I sold hundreds of boxes of Flesh and Blood of Uprising. But if I were a fringe store who is saying something like, I don't know if this is gonna wait, this is gonna be the same kind of set as Tales of Aria, and I look up Tales of Aria first edition, which is selling for $77 a box, $80 a box, and it's not super hot, and Everfest is just being fire sold by distribution. Like, I probably don't pick up the set, right? Like, I probably don't spend $2,000 or $3,000 or a couple $100 or whatever it is to pick up the set, so then I never get those boxes on TCG Player. That's one theory I have for your thought.
That makes sense. That makes sense, right? Especially because we know, and this is not a thing of negativity. You can't make a game store on one of the up and comer games, something like Flesh and Blood. You can't run your model. Sorry, that's a lie. Very few people can run their entire model off of that. If you are your average run-of-the-mill game store in your average run-of-the-mill town, you have to support these other games, which means you can be subject to these big losses when something like Magic, this big boat of a company, which is normally something you can rely on money in, money out, kind of takes a dump on your lawn, right? You have to use some of these resources that you would use for these other products to clean it up. So that might indicate why there's fewer sellers. However, I think there's more sellers that we know are still doing fine. There are game stores that you and I know that are doing fine and stuff that are not on that list of sellers. And part of that might be because of the margins that you brought up. With the product selling at MAP right away, you're not really making much money. And if you don't have a ton of money invested in the product and you can sell it at a slightly slower rate for a bigger profit, why wouldn't you? I mean, if you have the money,
I mean, it's not terribly hard for a store who's involved in Flesh and Blood to sell boxes at MAP to their people.
Right.
It's just it's a demand issue more than it is anything. Like, how many boxes are you going to take then? Sorry.
Oh, don't die.
Listen,
gosh.
I think that this set's really good. I think it's selling really well. I think that's what people need to take away from this. It's really good and selling really well. The economic current climate, like, it probably results in less people selling online. I agree with that. And trying to avoid the fees. I agree with that. I think this is pretty typical. I think I think we're going to see a little bit of a lull once people get their cards. But I mean, I bought some Uprising cards today. I listed them and they sold pretty fast.
Is there an argument that Uprising supply is actually too low? Now, I know that we're getting wave 2, is rumored already. Is there an argument that supply is too low?
No. So currently I can order from 2 different warehouses. I can order pretty much any number of Uprising that I would want right now.
Okay.
And I think this is still before wave 2.
Yes.
So I think the supply is fine. I think boxes at $80 is great.
Boxes at $80 is great, but that's a wonderful price for Flesh and Blood boxes. I love that price.
Like, as a retailer, like, you want to see that. I rather have, and I said this for every set. I said this for every single set. I rather sell more boxes at $80 a box than fewer boxes at $150 a box.
And that statement is so much more important in a community like ours, right? Where getting people's hands on the cards matters. The number of boxes you sell is so much more important than the price you sell them at, because we're in that building phase. We're building that foundation. That is huge. And I like to see Everfest still at the $80 mark. Like, it's still selling around there. I wish I would see more people up there selling it. And I'm trying to figure out why. I want to see more.
Or Uprising?
Uprising.
Dude,
I can't.
Everfest, and this is the concern that I would have. Everfest is at $68 a box right now. So, like,
that's too low. That feels like, from a consumer perspective, that feels like, ooh, I don't want to buy that box because there must be nothing. I don't get anything good out of it.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about unlimited a little bit last week, but
we're not doing that this week. I got hounded. Apparently, I hate everybody because of my unlimited take.
That's fine. I don't know, man. I just think people need to get out of the mindset of, I think we will see $68 boxes of Uprising. I just want that to be known right now. Like,
okay.
I think we will see $65, $70 boxes of Uprising. I do. I think that the demand for the set is going to calm down, and that's okay. Okay. It'll be all right.
Yeah. That's how product releases work. So let me ask you this,
especially if we do see another wave in the next couple of weeks. That's going to be
But we talked about our visions of success for Uprising, and we talked about the balanced meta. But a phrase that I used was, I want to see boxes at your LGS selling. And I think it's okay for your LGS to tell you, I don't have any now. I can pick some up from distribution on Tuesday. That statement is fine. The statements that scare me are, oh God, buy this for me. Like, right now, if we were right today, if I were to go down the LGS and they were like, buy this from me for $68. That's a statement that scares me. The second statement that scares me is you can't buy this from me and I don't know when I'm getting any more. So with that being said, what is a warning sign for you? And something we get a lot of pushback on this podcast for is we tell it like it is. When things aren't going well, we say it. When things are going well, we jump and shout and cheer. What would be a warning sign for you, Louie, where you're like, Everfest is taking a turn in a direction I don't like? Because right now we love the product.
Do you mean
we
Uprising?
Love the meta. What?
Do you mean Uprising?
Dude, I can't with those two sets. Yes, I mean Uprising. What would be an indicator that Uprising is turning in a direction that you don't like to see? I can't with those set names. What's going on?
So I think if I were a store now, which I am, and this is exactly what I'm doing, I ordered 3 cases this week. I'm gonna see how it goes, and I'm gonna have probably 5, 6, 7 cases in my inventory, and I'm not gonna go. I could order 200 boxes right now.
Sure.
I'm not gonna do that. That's silly. I'm not gonna go order 200 boxes of New Capenna tomorrow. You know what I mean? Why would I do that? I know that it's gonna be in print for the next year, whatever. This is what I do wish would happen. I wish that LSS would come out and tell us how long this is going to be in print. This is the only red flag that you could give me for Uprising.
You almost said Everfest. You almost did
it. I'm looking at Everfest right now too. For the only red flag for Uprising that you could give me is in like 3 months when, if not when, I don't believe they will do this. Is if LSS comes out in like 3 months and are like, Uprising's out of print, everyone panic. Uprising's out of print. That was such a feel bad for Crucible of War. That was such a feel bad for WTR. It was such a feel bad for Arcane Rising. If you want stores to succeed, stores need to know when they should be ordering product. I know Zendikar Rising just got the last call. They just did last call, which means, hey, everyone, we are selling the rest of the boxes of Zendikar we have, and then we're going to get one more restock. So I know now if I want to have Zendikar Rising on my shelf for the next 2, 3 years, 4 years, I should buy some Zendikar Rising, and I should sit on 6, 7, cases of it, or however many is comfortable for my store.
Right.
If in 3 months Fab is going to say Uprising's out of print, then I want to have a stock of 40, 50 boxes, maybe even cases, so that I can run sealed events, so that I can have fun with the product, so I can sell this. I hope with Fab 2.0 that their communication gets better to stores and distribution, because my understanding directly from my distributor, both distributors, for WTR Unlimited and Arc Unlimited and Crucible Unlimited, is even the distributors didn't know how much more product was coming in. Even the distributors didn't know that it was going out of print. They found out when we all found out. Right. And I think better communication for stuff like this will go a long way, so that stores don't have to listen. If you're a store and you're like worried about it, like what I used to do, and I don't do this anymore. It's like, sorry, you want to jump in? I'm going on one of my little tirades there. I just talk for a long time.
You don't say.
I'm a content creator. What do you want from me? Like what I do as a store, what I used to do as a store is sit on 40 boxes, so that if I sell 20 boxes this week, I'll order another 20 boxes, and that's my inventory. So if they say, hey, it's out of print, okay,
so you use that as your zero, as your baseline. Like you always wanted to have 40, and if you sold boxes, you had to refill that stock.
Yeah.
Okay, it makes sense that you as a store should find out about last calls and about out of prints before the community, and that information, just like every other game, will leak to the community, right? As soon as you know about it, the rest of the community will know about it. But you should be given a heads up with how often or how long you're going to be able to order this product. So here's my definition of this is my red flag, right? You talked about your red flag. I have a couple red flags. The first being if distributors, and we talked about this, I think it was personally, I think it was off camera. If distributors start using Uprising, not Everfest, I said the correct set. If they start using Uprising as a means of like procuring other product where you have to, for the next Flesh and Blood set, you have to order a certain amount of Uprising, even though yours isn't selling necessarily. You still have Uprising in your store. You don't need any. They're pushing it on you. That is a red flag to me. I don't like that. Or if what you're saying, you can order from these distributors, you can order as much as you want from any distributor anywhere right now. And then wave 2 comes in and that number just doubles when the sales don't pick up or stay consistent. Let's say the sales slow and that number doubles. That to me is scary because, again, my vision is this: it's going to be a small trickle of Uprising into the community over the time that the product is live, because it's so fun to open and it's such a good product and it drafts so well. People are going to continue to open this product, so there's no need to open the floodgates and saturate the market. And there's also no need to have a panic at the distributor level and try to dump, right? So those two things are things that I think we're at a balance right now. We're slowly growing, we're a smaller community, and we're expanding, but those things can throw us out of balance. What do you think about that? I mean, you're a store. This is just me as a consumer. What do you think about that as a store?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right. I think there's a lot more factors in it. Like, first off, your amount of next box does equal what you spend. Like, my allocations for the next fab box will be based on my overall Flesh and Blood spend divided by some number that they come up with. That's how they do allocations. So, like, the more that I spend on Flesh and Blood, the more boxes that I'll get of the next set. That's just the way that it works.
Sure, but if the product is literally printed well enough for everybody to get enough, which Uprising right now clearly is. You can order Uprising right now from anyone, anywhere, or from your at least 2 warehouses, I think was what you said. Meaning, was there really a need to allocate anybody on launch?
Well,
right.
My warehouse didn't get allocated at all.
Right. I mean, MinMax got allocated, but MinMax always orders a metric ridiculous low, like 1,000. Like, yeah,
I thought I was gonna get
number.
I thought I was gonna get X boxes. I got X times 5.
Yeah, I remember that conversation. I was in my bedroom. I was getting changed, just so you know, when we had that conversation.
So the second part of that was draft. I think there's something everyone needs to remember, and that's that the success of a draft format, it doesn't matter how good Uprising is. At some point, communities get bored of drafting sets.
Sure.
Like, at some point, your community is just going to be like, I don't want to do Uprising anymore. That's all we've done.
Sure.
Additionally, at some point, people are like, I don't need any more Uprising cards. I don't need more in my inventory to sell. Like, they just don't, and that will happen. So I think, and LSS knows that. Yeah. So I agree with what you're saying. I agree. I think you're spot on. I just think, like, the demand is going to go down on this, and that's okay.
Well, it does for every product release. Yeah. Double Masters 2022, the best product to touch the market in how long for that game. The demand was at an all-time high, and then people bought all their boxes and spent a bunch of money and then flooded the market with cards, and then it has slowed. People don't buy as many boxes today as they did 2 weeks ago. That is how a product release works. So that is fine. It's when demand comes to such a slow trickle or even a halt. But we talked about one of the cool things about Uprising. Even if draft becomes lame, the boxes, the individual box with the addition of Marvels in that Marvel slot and the cold foil slot still feel pretty cool to open. Yeah. Now, just like drafting, one day, theoretically, everyone will have every card because they've opened every box they have ever wanted, like in a world of infinities. But for now, that notion and the restructuring of the box, I think, keeps people opening the box. And I want to see how long that goes. And that needs to carry this product for a little while.
Yeah, I think, like, it's not going to carry it for a long time. I think you got a month. Like, new products for TCGs are like a month, and then look at the sales volume of almost any TCG box that's a month old. So I think that's fine. I don't think anybody needs to panic about that. This is not the time to invest. In my opinion, if this was a Magic set, I would not be
financial advice.
I would not be telling you to go invest. I'm not telling you. Well, maybe Double Master or something might be different, but this is maybe Commander, because it's like literally 40% less than cost right now. But I would not tell you to go invest in New Capenna right now and buy a bunch of New Capenna singles
crap.
Like, we have to stop looking at Flesh and Blood like it's free tendies from 2021. It's not.
Yeah.
Free tendies are gone. And
everything.
Like, it's gone. It's gone. Let it go. Go find another place to eat your chicken.
You're taking this metaphor way too far.
Dude, they just opened like the best chicken place in the world in our town.
Why did the Flesh and Blood cross the road? to get turned
all
into
I can
chicken.
all I can think about is this chicken. I've had it once and they were closed on Sunday and they're closed tomorrow on Monday. So I can't have it until Tuesday.
That's because you went there and gave everyone COVID.
I promise. No, it was like pickup. Anyway, I promise you on Tuesday I will be eating chicken from Craft baked wings. I don't know what it's called.
Wow, way to name drop and not even. So delicious. On the road to Southern Illinois, you'd pass a million signs that say the country's best chicken. Just so you know. Lying. So I've heard enough about the country's best chicken in the last 2 days. I've had my fill. This is foul.
I'm gonna send you chicken from this place.
This is foul.
I'm gonna send you. That's good.
Thank you. And do it twice just so you catch up.
I'm gonna send you chicken in an insulated box.
It's gonna be cold and soggy. Okay. So it's going to be interesting to watch how Uprising shakes out. It'll be interesting to watch how Everfest shakes out too. And maybe that's my Freudian slip. Maybe the move is just buy all the Everfest. So that's what I'm going to do. That's how I'm spending my money. That's
good luck.
Anyway, let's talk about. Let's close today. What?
I've got some if you want to buy it.
Yeah, give me a sweet deal. Let's close today talking about the rest of the market. We talked about 2 cards specifically last week, and I have to ask, because I tried on myself, did you sell your Channel Lake Frigid for $650?
Nobody bought my Channel Lake Frigid, but everyone listed theirs. And when I made that video, there were 7 copies. I think it was 4 listings of Channel Lake Frigid. There are now 37 listings of Channel Lake Frigid,
all with multiple copies.
Yeah. So people must listen, I guess, huh?
So people also did not buy my half-price foil Channel Lake Frigid for $325.
Oh, dang.
So we didn't get that quite done. But Channel Lake Frigid sticking around $22 makes sense. It's a card. It's played in Lexi, which won your Road to Nationals. It's played in Old Man, which, oh my God, how are people not playing that at your RTN?
I know, right?
That deck is especially, there's 1 prism. Well, then it should have been 40 Oldims then, if there's only 1 prism.
This is a great...
It should have looked like the weirdest poster for a movie ever.
So we just had like a flushing of all the market for this card, right? For Channel Lake Frigid. And now we had an influx of listings. So this might be the best snapshot of the quantity of first edition versus unlimited for Tales of Aria that I've ever seen. There are 26 listings for first edition, normal or rainbow foil on TCG Player. There are only 11 listings for unlimited.
I told you unlimited doesn't actually exist. Let's go.
I think unlimited might be legitimately like a lot less printed than first edition Tales of Aria.
All right, you're starting conspiracy theories on our podcast. I might be here for it. Say it. Put your name behind it.
I don't want to be the guy that says that, but like all the evidence points to that being pretty accurate.
I can make a video about it tomorrow if you don't want to say it. Let me know.
No, you do. I just said it. So
just give me more hate. Let's go.
Don't worry. Tales of Aria boxes are $70. So first edition.
Or how much?
70.
First edition?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's higher than I thought they'd be. Everfest is 60.
Yeah, that's fair. Gosh. I saw a box of Monarch. It was a TCG Player bundle. Like remember their Monarch bundle? It's sold for $98. First edition Monarch.
I don't want to dox myself.
Is this you? You bought it?
This is the TCG Player Monarch box that it's still in the box it shipped to me in, and it's sitting on my shelf. Let's go.
I was talking to George the other day, and we were talking about our stream from Monarch, and we were like, could you imagine if we had sold our Monarch, like all the Monarch that we had bought from the secondary, if we had just like, instead of opening 84 boxes, I sold my 84 boxes. I was like, I could buy a house.
Or a kitchen.
I could buy a house.
Or a kitchen. Let's just build the room in the house.
All right. The other card we talked about was the Fable
Grandor,
which has come down a considerable amount as well.
I just have all these cards around here. This is crazy.
Gosh, you're the one that was buying them all up. Grandor's down to 3 or 2. What do we say? 220, 320?
220, 320. I bought them all out, and I wanted to be like, look, Louis, I did it. And then we got on the podcast, and you're like, buyouts are dumb. And I was like, oh, never mind.
I don't think buyouts are dumb. I think, yeah, they're 220, 230.
I just don't know who's on the
other end of. I don't know who's on the other end of Flesh and Blood buyouts. Like
me.
Yeah, you and your $275 cold foil Bravo. It's you.
It's just me. No, it's cool to see that card get back into the market, and it's readily available if you want it. Some decks are playing it. There's some decks are playing it right now. It's pretty cool.
Grandor?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
No, the Grandor. You gotta pronounce it with some like bravado, some gusto.
That was a good bravado. That was good Guardian reference for the Guardian Fable. Good job.
$275 worth of bravado. All right, anyway, so interesting cards to follow.
Yeah. The market's weird this week, man.
The market's weird every week. Every time I see it,
isn't it?
What the market's weird every week, but every time I see one of your market videos, I'm like, maybe I should watch this, and I'm like,
yeah, you and everybody else just passes now.
I'll ask him. I'll just ask him. I got a line right to the source, man. I'll just ask him. Hey, what should I buy? Bravo? Sure, I'm in.
All right, everyone. I'm out. My voice has died. It's gone. So
I think you did a great job today, guys. Thanks for hanging out. If you like this podcast, make sure to click the like button, click the subscribe button here on this amazing channel. And if you get the chance, head on over to Hometown TCG, visit mine, click the same couple buttons.
That'll be great. And then you can just go back and forth and work on the algorithm between our two channels.
You just bounce around. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, Louis, it's been awesome. Go ahead and close us out here.
Everyone, thank you for watching. Remember, be kind to the people around you, and we'll see you again next video.